And I'd like to welcome you all to our Lunch Club Travel Edition, where every week we take you on a trip to a new destination. And this week, kind of in honor of Thanksgiving, to learn more, we'll be celebrating the richness of Navajo heritage. So, Lou, again, I'll be assisting with the trivia at the end, but I hope all of us learned something new and enjoy the session for today. And thanks so much for presenting.
Oh, thank you so much, Alexander. And thanks to all the seniors who attended today. I know today's maybe a little bit of a challenge for you all. Some of you are preparing Thanksgiving dinner for tomorrow, others are traveling, and others are right here with us. So I'm happy you all chose the best option of all. Uh, this is a very special presentation, I think, because it's certainly to some degree in our own backyard, and it is around Thanksgiving, and the American Indians are a big part of Thanksgiving, and so I think it's important that we present. Now, the Navajo. I'm going to start with a little quick conversation here. The Navajo aren't from our neck of the woods, right? They're not a tribe that was anywhere near us. But the reason that we're presenting the Navajo is because our topic is on culture, and it's not on historic culture, at least not right now. Maybe we'll do that later. It's on to culture every day today, cultures that are alive today. And we chose the Navajo culture because the Navajo culture is one of the very, very few American Indian tribes who still have their culture intact, relatively intact. Most of the most of those their cultures are have been diluted, wiped out, especially here in the Northeast. And there's, of course, over the last few decades, been an increased effort to preserve it. A lot of it by recording the recordings of elders. And before I moved to Washington D.C., I lived in Washington State. I used to teach at the Muckleshoot Tribal School, and I cherished that opportunity. I was the only non Muckleshoot to teach there, and I was really taken by how profoundly different their culture was and their values were, and it was just absolutely wonderful. It was like being in a foreign country, but only a few miles away, and that was at least in the Seattle area. So without further ado, let's talk about the Navajo from the desert Southwest. Before I start though, has anybody here been to the desert Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, that neck of the woods? No one's raising hands. Okay, I'll presume that's a no. So let's get this fired up here. Let me see if I can figure out the technical parts of it. All right, here we go. And okay, well, that's not. Give me a sec. Give me just a second. Okay. And here we go. And let me share screens now. Okay, here we go. Hopefully everybody sees this just fine.
Yep, you're
And
good, Lou.
yeah, and as I always do, I wouldn't want to shock anybody by being inconsistent. Like always, I
Oh, you
forgot to
stopped sharing
share.
your screen, Lou.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like always, I forgot to share the audio when I hit the share button. So I'm going to share the audio now.
Yep.
So let me do that. Okay, voila. So here we are talking about the Navajo culture. Alex, thanks for your technical support in advance. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, where are they located? A bit about the culture itself, and then the trivia led by Alex. Just a quick warning, depending how long the call goes, I may have to leave before Alex does the trivia. No discredit to any of you. I just got to get ready for the holiday party happening shortly afterwards. Okay, rock and roll. Where is the Navajo tribe? Let's check that out. So you can see the map right here. I mentioned New Mexico. I mentioned Arizona, little splash in Colorado, little splash in Utah. So it's really in that what they call the Four Corners area. It's the only place in the United States where four states all intersect at the same point.
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful
Yep.
place
So,
to go.
yep, tap on Navajo Nation in orange. You can,
Oh, perfecto.
Yep, and this is just an example. I know it says Navajo Dam. There's literally a Navajo dam, but look how I mean inexpensive it is for the time, December 16th to the 23rd. Round trip. That's I'm not too familiar with flights and prices within the US, so I don't know how you feel about that 377, but for that round trip, but that seems pretty good for the flight.
Yeah, yeah, it does seem pretty good. I look at trips back to Detroit this time of year for Christmas, and they're about the same price. It's only 500 miles. This is like 2,000 miles. So that's pretty good to me.
Yep.
Real, real, sorry, real quick tip. A discount airline that flies to that neck of the woods is Frontier. Their hub is Denver. So I bet you can get to Denver from Baltimore dirt cheap. I'm talking like $29 dirt cheap if you buy right. So check out Frontier Airlines. Now you got to figure out how to get from Denver to the Four Corners. Might be taking a bus or something like that, but at least you're in the same state. All right.
Yeah, and
Uh,
you can hit the little arrow next to any of them, or hit or click on them, and you can see the expanded trip. So there you go.
oh, nice, nice.
There's Denver right there,
So these are landing in Denver. Oh, then it's connecting to Durango. I see. Okay.
and that's on United.
And if anybody has, while maybe even while we're on this call, if anybody wants to try, check out. I'd be curious what Frontier Airlines cost to go from BWI to DEN. Check it out. Let us know on this call how cheap it is. I've seen it as low as $29. Crazy prices. All right. Well, thank you, Alex. This is fabulous. Let's continue on.
Yeah. When you go back to the presentation, you can click on the map itself.
Ooh, thank you. Okay, so Washington, D.C. to the Four Corners region. See, Alex, where should I click now?
Oh, on the actual text. Yep.
In the text, okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, as always. So we're gonna board the train and we're gonna take off and we're gonna go. We all know where Dulles Airport is, so we're gonna skip that part. I will say that the cheapest airline that I know of going there is Frontier, and they leave out of BWI. And you could take the MARC train from Union Station, stops right at BWI, is $7. You jump on that BWI, beautiful flight. I love BWI Airport, by the way. It's easy access. And then you take off, and then we fly all the way here to Denver. Where is Denver? Give me Denver. Give me Denver. Give me Denver. There it is. There it is. Denver. Okay. So there's Denver. We're going to land in Denver. And then I saw it took off and went to Durango. So where's Durango? Look at there. Look at there. There's Durango. Okay. So even once you're at Durango, you're going to have to catch a bus or something to get down in this neck of the woods. And look how it's labeled. Look how it's labeled.
That's so
Navajo
interesting.
Nation. Whoa. That's a big thing. That's bigger than Maryland. Look at the size of that nation.
It's really interesting. They grade it out, but it's like just to actually like see it and it's there and it's on the map. It's amazing to be able to look at.
This is really nice, Alexander. Thank you so much. I want to share with you real brief story. So when I was in the one and only time I've ever been there, I was in Santa Fe, and we went and I took a side trip up to Taos Pueblo, and I tell you, it knocked my socks off. So in this country, like what do we think of as being the oldest cities in the United States? Like what are we trained in school? What are they? Anybody know? What are they like? Where do the oldest cities come from?
And you all can unmute and share if you'd like for the session today.
Like, what are we taught in school? I mean, sometimes we learn about Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts. Sometimes we learn about Jamestown in Virginia. But when it comes to Europeans establishing cities, I believe the first one was actually in St. Augustine, Florida, and that was 100 years before Jamestown. I think it was like 1520. They actually built a city, the Europeans, and then we learned about but but that fell into disrepair, became unoccupied for hundreds of years. Then we learned about the Vikings. They landed up near Canada, but of course that was just a relic. It was completely uninhabited. They had to dig around and find some stuff. But then I went to Taos Pueblo, and and when I went to Taos Pueblo, it just knocked my socks off because I encountered an American Indian community, the Navajo, the Anasazi, descendants of this historic tribe, not only living in this city that had been continuously occupied since like 1200, but not only a city, but not only was there a city there, but there was continuously occupied. It was People had been living there constantly for like 800 years. Knock my socks off. So that I'm particularly moved by the Navajo Nation and their and descendants of the Anasazi tribe, because this is a totally intact culture, still living in the same cities they lived at for 800 years. Can you imagine that? All right, let's get back. Enough about me. Uh, so let's learn a little bit about Navajo culture. You ready to fire it up, Alex? Do I click on the red Navajo thing here?
Next slide, Lou.
Next slide. Okay. Whoa, check that out. So I'm going to click on this someplace, right? I presume. Well, maybe
Yep,
I shouldn't have.
and they have their very own website. So it's just taking a second to load. Try refreshing your browser.
Okay, they must have slow internet there or something. Oh, let's see.
Yes.
Where's
Yep.
my
Yep.
refresher here?
Hit the mine. Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there it
It
is.
just, it
Whoa,
just took
that's
a second to upload, but yes, this is some history. So just read through the through the page.
Oh, I'm excited to read about this, folks. The Navajo Nation extends in Utah, Arizona, and Mexico. We learned about that. It covers a big area. We know about that. Visitors from around the world are intrigued and mystified when they hear the Navajo language. So too was the enemy during World War II. Unknown to many, the Navajo language was used to create secret codes to battle the Japanese. Navajo men were selected to create codes and served on the front line to overcome and deceive those on the other side of the battlefield. Today, these men are recognized as the famous Navajo code talkers, who exemplify the unequaled bravery and patriotism of the Navajo people. Wow. So what's the Navajo government like? Well, they're striving to sustain a viable economy for an ever increasing population that now surpasses a 250,000. In years past, Navajo land often appeared to be little more than a desolate section of the Southwest. It was only a matter of time before the Navajo Nation became known as a wealthy nation in a world of its own. The discovery of oil on Navajo land in the early 1920s promoted the need for a more systemic form of government. In 1923, the tribal government was established to help meet the increasing desires of the American oil companies to lease Navajo land for exploration. Navajo government has evolved into the largest, most sophisticated form of American Indian government. I did not know that. The Navajo National Council hosts 88 council members representing 110 Navajo Nation chapters. That is so cool. The Navajo Nation government in action as the 88 council delegates representing 110 Navajo Nation chapters or communities discuss critical issues to enact legislation to determine the future of the Navajo people. Reorganized in 1991 to form a three-branch system, the Navajos conduct what is considered to be the most sophisticated form of Indian government. I'm going to skip down a little bit. That's pretty interesting. Let's look. Here's the code talkers. I think we all know this story of the code talkers? I think we know. I'm going to see what.
I never heard of it before.
Oh,
Before
you
we
never heard of it?
never heard of the code talkers.
Yeah, and I'll just paraphrase real quick, because so we had to trade information across the sea by radio back in the World War II. And so the Navajo had such a unique language that nobody outside of the Navajo themselves could decipher, that they had one Navajo person on one side and one on the other side of the radio transmitting information back and forth. And it was a big reason why the Japanese and the Germans never broke the American code. Unlike us, we broke their codes, and it really helped us. So thanks to the Navajo people. There's the Navajo flag. Check that out. That's interesting. Designed by J. DeGroat, a Navajo from Marino Lake, New Mexico, was selected from 140 entries in 1968. And now Window Rock Tribal Park. This looks interesting. A small park near the Navajo Nation Administration Center features the graceful redstone arch for which the capital is named. The Navajo Nation headquarters and other government offices were built in close proximity to this mystical rock formation. I don't think I've ever seen that rock. Very cool. And they built a veterans memorial at the base of the rock. But Alex, I would love to get into like the culture itself.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can jump into that.
Mhm. But it's
Uh,
amazing. They have this is a .gov website. This is their website, so it's just fascinating that they had one at all.
Very cool. But yeah, Alexander, I think a lot of Indian nations now have their own websites.
Mhm,
A lot of
mhm.
them have derived wealth from a number of sources. Clearly, these folks are from oil, but they probably have other sources too. All right, let's fire it up. So let's learn about who is this guy? Oh, so Ron. Ron, hey Ron, great to hear you.
How are you, Lou?
Oh, it's so nice to see you on the call. How have you been?
All is well. All is well. I have the Navajo soldiers. There was a movie made about them called Wind Talkers, where they portrayed how they used telegraph, and walkie-talkies to use their language with each other, and then to tell in English what they were doing. But there was a movie called Wind Talkers in regard to the code that the Navajo used for the U.S. Army.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. So if we Google it, we could probably find the movie someplace, I bet.
Of course.
Ron, thanks so much. Great to have you on the call.
Thank you, Lou. Good to be here.
All right, I'm going to fire up the video here. Here we go.
With a history spanning thousands of years, the Diné Navajo tribe is one of the oldest and most recognized groups in the United States. As a sovereign nation, the Diné people have made significant contributions to the U.S., from innovations in military technology to writing the code talk that helped win World War II to protecting the Grand Canyon. Stay tuned with Liberty as we explore more of this remarkable tribe and their rich history, including some stories of some of its notable ancestors. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment below with some notable facts of your own or questions you may have about the episode itself. Diné Navajo tribe, located in the heart of American Southwest, has a long and rich history. From notable ancestors who were part of the tribe centuries ago to the famous code talkers who helped the Allied forces during World War II, there is a lot to be said about this tribal nation. The Navajo tribe has a deep connection to its land and culture, which is reflected in their traditional ceremonies and practices. One of the most important aspects of Navajo life is the concept of huzo, which means balance and harmony. This belief is woven into every aspect of their culture, from their art and music to their daily interactions with one another. Despite facing many challenges over the years, such as forced relocation and assimilation efforts by the U.S. government, the Navajo people have remained resilient and continue to thrive today. They are known for their intricate weaving and jewelry making skills, as well as their delicious cuisine, which includes dishes like blue corn mush and fry bread. Visitors to the Navajo Nation can explore the stunning landscapes of Monument Valley and Canyon Chelly, both of which are sacred sites to the tribe. They can also learn about Navajo history and culture at museums and cultural centers throughout the region. Overall, the Navajo tribe is a testament to the power of tradition and perseverance. The Navajo Nation is located in the southwestern United States in parts of Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico. The Navajo Reservation covers 27,000 square miles of land, making it the largest Native American reservation in the country. The population of the Navajo Nation is estimated to be over 300,000, making it the largest federally recognized tribe in the United States. Some notable historical figures from this fascinating tribe are Chi Dodge, also known as Father of the Diné. Chi Dodge was a leader who fought for Diné Navajo sovereignty during the 1800s. Born in 1856 in Arizona, Chi Dodge was a prominent figure in Navajo history, known for his efforts to preserve the Diné way of life. He was a skilled diplomat and negotiator who worked tirelessly to protect his people's rights and ensure their survival in the face of increasing encroachment by white settlers. Despite facing numerous challenges and setbacks, including forced relocation and the destruction of traditional Navajo lands, Dodge remained steadfast in his commitment to his people and their future. Then there's Barbanchito, a 19th century chief of the Diné Navajo tribe. Barbanchito negotiated the Treaty of 1868 and helped lead the tribe during their long walk from Arizona to New Mexico. During his time as a leader, Barbanchito worked tirelessly to protect the interests of his people and ensure their survival. Despite facing numerous challenges, including conflicts with neighboring tribes and the U.S. government's attempts to force them onto reservations, Barbanchito remained committed to his people's welfare. Today, he is remembered as a hero and a symbol of Navajo resistance against colonization and oppression. And finally, Manuelito. Chief Manuelito was a leader of the Diné in the mid-19th century who worked to protect his people's interests and resources. He was born into the Bit Anani Folded Arms People clan in Arizona in 1818 and became a prominent leader of the Navajo Nation. Manuelito was known for his strategic thinking and diplomatic skills, which he used to negotiate with the United States government during a time of conflict between the Navajo and the U.S. military. Despite facing great pressure to surrender, Manuelito refused to give up his people's land and resources, leading successful campaigns against the U.S. military. During World War II, the Navajo tribe played a significant role as code talkers. So what is code talking? Code talking was a crucial method of secret communication that the Navajo tribe utilized during World War II. It involved transmitting sensitive military messages in an encoded form using the Navajo language, which the enemy forces were unable to decipher due to the complexity and uniqueness of the language. The code talkers played a vital role in the war effort, and their contributions have been recognized as a significant factor in the Allied victory. These brave Native American soldiers utilized their native languages to transmit secret messages that the enemy couldn't decipher. The code talkers were mostly Navajo, but soldiers from other tribes, such as the Comanche and Choctaw, also contributed to the effort. They went through rigorous training to learn complex codes and were sworn to secrecy even among their fellow soldiers. Their work was instrumental in battles such as Iwo Jima and helped turn the tide of the war in favor of the Allies. Despite their crucial role in the war effort, it wasn't until decades later that the code talkers received public recognition for their contributions, and they continue to be honored for their heroism and service today. Today, the code talkers are celebrated as heroes, and their legacy is honored by both the Navajo Nation and the United States government. So what is life like now for the Navajo tribe and on the reservation itself? Life on the Navajo reservation is a unique experience that is deeply rooted in tradition and culture. The Navajo people have a strong connection to their land, language, and history, which shapes their daily lives. Despite facing significant challenges such as poverty and limited access to healthcare and education, the Navajo Nation has a resilient spirit, and its people are determined to persevere their way of life. In recent years, there have been efforts to diversify the economy and promote sustainable development, including investments in renewable energy and tourism. However, the Navajo Nation continues to face complex issues such as water scarcity and environmental degradation. that require innovative solutions and collective action. To address these challenges, the Navajo Nation has been working closely with local communities, government agencies, and nonprofit organizations to explore sustainable practices and develop innovative solutions. One such initiative is the use of solar energy to power homes and businesses, reducing reliance on fossil fuels and lowering carbon emissions. Additionally, the Navajo Nation has implemented conservation measures to preserve precious water resources, such as rainwater harvesting and wastewater treatment programs. While there is still much work to be done, these efforts represent important steps towards a more sustainable future for the Navajo Nation and its people. Thank you for joining us on this more in-depth look into the Navajo Nation tribe. We especially want to thank our viewer for asking for this specific topic, and we hope we've covered the important highlights of why these people deserve their spot in history. Please join us next time for Liberty, and as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more historical facts, figures, and exploration of this world's history. See you next time.
All right, that was great. Any thoughts or comments on what we just saw, folks?
With a history spanning
Whoop, whoop.
thousands of years.
Sorry about that.
Yep. Again, you all can unmute and share any thoughts, anything new that you learned. Learning more about the cold talkers was interesting.
Okay, great. Well, let's jump into culture then. Alex, I figure I click somewhere around here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the Navajo Nation Hospitality Enterprise. Interesting. So let's learn a little bit about Navajo culture. So certainly it involves rain because it's so dry out there. So I'll read this a little bit here. The sky darkens with clouds, thunder rolls, lightning flashes, and then the rain pours down. It is the male rain. The female rain, on the other hand, is gentle with a soothing effect. In Navajo belief, there is a male and female to all things above, below, and around us. That sounds a little like the Latin culture. To Navajos, rain is one of the four main elements of earth, light, air, and pollen are the others. It is said by wise ones that if you have no respect for the rain and your thoughts and words are bad while it rains, the sacred forces will punish you. The Navajo have a ceremony that restores harmony and balance with nature. So what a strong reliance on rain they had. What is the cradle board? Well, many Navajos still use the traditional cradle board to keep their babies safe and protected. Made with cottonwood, pine, or cedar, laced together with thin strips of leather, the cradle boards feature a wide wooden hoop over the baby's head that protects the child. Navajos believe that flat boards will give the baby a strong, straight back, and that a soft supporting pad will help the infant form a nice rounded head. The cradle board is blessed with corn pollen, prayers, and songs and good thoughts for the baby. I think I've seen a cradle board before in movies and in museums. I think I've seen it at the Museum of the American Indian downtown. That's a great museum, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I love that museum. That's probably my favorite Smithsonian museum. Okay, what about corn? Well, corn is one of the main staples of Native American life. It's an important food item. And every spring, many Navajo families plant large fields of corn. But its use, but its use goes far beyond just nutrition. It's also an important part of Navajo prayer. The pollen of corn is dusted off the tassels and used in ceremonies as a blessing. It is offered in prayer. Corn is used to make many traditional dishes, including kneel down bread, blue corn mush, dried steamed corn, and roasted corn. Wow, I've never had kneel down bread or blue corn mush, but I'd sure be curious about what it is. Corn is also used during the ceremony where the Navajo girls come of age. A large corn cake is cooked underground in a circular pit lined with corn husks. Oh, so what about the traditional wedding basket? Well, this is used in religious ceremonies at traditional Navajo weddings. A wedding basket has a distinct pattern of representation. The edge of the basket, a lighter color, represents the brightened skies and the dawn, as dawn approaches. The center design features 4 points to represent the Navajo's 4 sacred mountains. And the opening of the center, which Navajos believe should never be pointed downward, signifies an outlet for our thoughts. The bright red weave is a hallmark of sunshine and is a blessing for Navajo health and spirituality. Black is for darkness and a time to rest our bodies and minds. The lacing of the weave around the basket's edge represents our roots in human life. In the very center of the basket is representative of the emergence of Dine, the opening of the first Holy One to come in the first world. So let me scan through some other things here. Alexander, I don't want to run out of time.
Oh yeah, no, but there's a ton that I just learned from the rain to the basket and how there are, what they do is very representative of their beliefs. So it's just fascinating.
Very true. Okay, great. Let me continue on because I don't want to run out of time for trivia and the like. Uh,
So hope you all enjoyed learning about those different symbols and representations.
Any thoughts on what we just read, folks? Okay, let's continue on. Native American hair. Well, this is interesting. Thanks for sharing this one. Let's learn a little bit about it.
In different ways and with different descriptions, a lot of Native people will talk about hair as a source of spiritual strength. It's something that is an intimate part of being. But also, with hair, it's a way of saying, I am proud of and connected to and recognizable to my ancestors. And so it's just an identity affirmation. For some tribes, there's even a taboo about having someone who is not family braid your hair or things like that. Leonard Boos, who's one of our elders from Mille Lacs, he just passed away recently. He said when they were kids, if someone had a haircut, like I had a braid chopped off, they'd take the braid and they'd run it across a hot rock, and it was like cauterizing a wound. He said, so your medicine wouldn't leak out. Hair is also something that speaks to identity. So if I have a short haircut, I can easily pass as Hispanic, Filipino, maybe Arab, Greek. But with braids, it's pretty obvious that I'm a Native man. And it's also something that many Native people wear as a way to counteract their experience with invisibility. It says, here's who I am. You can imagine then the experience for people who had either spiritual or cultural beliefs about the importance of hair or saw it as an important marker of identity, then the experience going to residential boarding school and having your braids chopped off on the first day, or schools, as there are still like public schools that require boys to have a haircut above the collar. I think when people are running into resistance about keeping their hair long or run into shaming, it's usually at the implicit level. There are cases where there's just overt teasing, or there have even been cases this year in Minnesota where somebody used hair cutting as a punishment, like a teacher did that. That has happened, but I would say those are the exceptions rather than the rule or the most common practice. If somebody cut my hair or my kid's hair, I would consider that assault. So that should definitely not be happening. But even outside of that, the system we have is not working for our Indigenous learners nearly as well as it is working for everyone else. So this is an area where we need to pay special attention. I think it's important to begin by education providing multiple perspectives. And if you got like a Native man with some braids on the workforce, that will be a very powerful statement. It makes such a difference. What we put up for art, what kind of books we pick, all that stuff makes a big difference. So I think it should all be carefully considered because there's a lot at stake.
Wow. Thoughts on that video, folks? Thoughts on that video? I'm curious for us on the call. I mean, I love where he said that the hair is a way of saying who he is. You know, I wonder if some of us have that ourselves, like things that we do that are different, that sort of says who we are.
Again, you don't have to unmute. I mean, you don't have to raise your hand, you all. You can just unmute and share, okay? So anyone like to share your thoughts?
I just wanted to thank you for this because I learned something that I did not know about my great-grandmother. I learned a lot about the Navajos that my grandmother wasn't able to tell me about my great-grandmother. So I learned a lot about my Native American Navajo tribe. So thank you so much. And I'm interested in the hair thing. That really kind of blew my mind, but that's interesting how they thought about it and what they
Yeah.
did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that really is true.
I know my mother-in-law had long hair. She always wore 2 braids down her back. And she never put dye or anything in it. My father told me the first thing that a man or somebody looks at a woman is your hair. Because that's the first thing you see on a person is their face, their hair. And I've always been take care of my hair. I never put any dye in it or anything, no chemicals or nothing in it. I just wore my hair natural and I kept it braided. And before I wore braids long, a lot of braids when I was younger. And I would take one plait and just turn it into 5 plaits. And I don't know, it was something always about my hair that I treasured.
Yeah,
It's like a cultural thing.
it definitely is.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Any other thoughts about hair or anything else that maybe some of us do every day to say a little bit about who we are?
My aunt, this is Gracie. She was half Indian. My father's mother was full-blooded. And she always wore her hair in 2 braids hanging over her shoulders, just like you see him. And she said she wore it like that because she felt it identified her. And she would never wear her hair any other way.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Well, something to think about. Something to think about. All right. Well, let's continue on, Alice. Thanks for sharing this. That's great. It's a great and very important thing.
Lou,
Hey,
I
Lou.
wanted to say something.
Of course.
The current Secretary of the Interior, her name is Deb Haaland, and she's a member of the Pueblo of Luguana, which is out of New Mexico. She's the current Secretary of the Interior and the first indigenous person to serve in a cabinet in the United States.
Oh, wow. Well, that's wonderful. That's amazing. The first indigenous person in the interior. That should have happened hundreds of years ago.
Yes, and she's the current Secretary of the Interior in the Biden administration.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Pueblo of Luguana is the tribe from which she's from. that she's from.
I know the Pueblo and the Navajo are very close. I mean, they like share a lot of, I don't know if they overlap lands, but they certainly abut each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are both descended from the Anasazi tribes, the ancient ones that live in the cliff dwellings. But let me continue on here. Thanks for sharing. Any other sharings, folks?
Yeah, Lou, you piqued my curiosity.
Oh yeah.
Um, I'm very interested now in finding out where the Navajo tribe was in the first place and how far they had to travel. I've heard of the Trail of Tears, which was the movement that set the whole American Indian population westward. Because I read some things on the Buffalo Soldiers, who were Black soldiers, who had something to do with safeguarding or whatever happened on the Trail of Tears. But you piqued my curiosity to find out where they originated. Had to have been somewhere back east toward this coast. But I'm interested in finding out how that went down. Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, Alex, maybe can you make that a topic? I'm also curious about that. I know, I mean, I know a lot of the cultures in the Southwest, were from the Southwest because the Anasazis predated by 500 years the Europeans coming here, and they were all based in the desert Southwest. But you're right. I mean, a lot of the tribes were pushed west. I was driving through Georgia and that area, and what's amazing is like in the Trail of Tears. I know when someone Googles, I think it's like around the 1820s or something, 1830s.
Yeah,
I mean,
somewhere there, right.
I mean, all of Georgia, all of South Carolina, all of these lands that later became, plantations and the like, all of them were only inhabited by Native Americans in the 1820s. There were no Europeans there. And the Europeans drove them out because the land was so good. They wanted to farm there. And what I was astounded by is that area in 40 years, we're talking 40 years, went from having no Europeans, being purely Native American, to the Civil War in 40 years. I mean, what the heck? Can you imagine that rate of change and all the things that went down there?
Wow.
I mean, that whole era of plantationism and all that was that went from nothing in the 1820s to the Civil War in 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Native Americans have a whole rich history of their own. I like to explore it a little more. Thank you for your presentation. You piqued my interest.
Well, Alexander, maybe we should do a Trail of Tears presentation and talk about where the tribes came from. What exactly happened there. I think that's a great topic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got 10 minutes left. Let's see. Oh, I got to go back. We didn't cover the previous one. How do I go back in here, Alex? I went forward by mistake.
Hit the arrow at the bottom left, Lou.
Bottom left right here. Oh, you're so smart. Okay. So let's learn about the weavers here.
Everything old is new again. It's a quote attributed to 1700s author Jonathan Swift. And Serena Altschul has proof from the world of fashion.
In a remote house in the northeast corner of Arizona, among the red rocks and vast expanses of the Navajo Nation, you'll hear a beat so steady it keeps nearly perfect time. Hour after hour, day after day, artist Naomi Glasses sits on her floor in silence, weaving at her loom.
It's very meditative, and having to do these repetitive motions, you kind of just get into a trance. It really is a great time to just sit and think.
The 26-year-old thinks about the 6 generations of family weavers who have come before her, passing down this rich Native American tradition.
And I just do that for all the wool going through, and that's how you build a design.
Now, those designs, which can take months to make and cost thousands, have caught the attention of the fashion world. In particular, Ralph Lauren, a brand Naomi always wore as a kid and dreamed of someday working with, but never thought possible.
I definitely dreamt of it while weaving.
It may seem like an improbable journey for a shy girl from Arizona who was mercilessly bullied as a 5-year-old for having a cleft palate. To escape the torment, Naomi found solace on a skateboard.
It's always been a safe space where I feel like I can be myself, and continually learning how to be even more confident.
She took that confidence to the loom, first trying her hand at weaving at 16. Her brother Tyler showed her their grandmother's ways, and soon the siblings started selling their pieces at the local trading post. But their parents encouraged them to think bigger, so in 2020, they turned to social media.
Get it! Get it!
Using the reservation as a set, Tyler posted Naomi showing off her colorful creations and those impressive skateboarding skills. This daring video became a worldwide sensation.
And then suddenly it blew up and it traveled everywhere.
Including, incredibly, to Ralph Lauren, a brand famous for embracing Native American culture. In Naomi, the fashion house serendipitously found a like-minded partner for its first artist in residence.
For my father, for Ralph Lauren, he has always loved the West.
Ralph's son, David Lauren, is the company's chief branding and innovation officer.
He has always gone in search of the art and the culture that Naomi loves and cherishes as well. And so the ability to come together to create something and to be inspired together is beautiful, and it keeps getting better by the day.
Oh, these are pants.
Those are pants.
The pattern is so beautiful.
These days, Naomi is busy launching her new collection out this month. She calls it a love letter to her people.
Yeah,
Just
me,
gonna
that's
put
what
put this beauty on. Oh my gosh.
Naomi's hoping to promote her culture in other ways too.
It's a 10-gallon.
The proper hat.
There you go.
The Ralph Lauren ad campaign, filmed at her family's home in Arizona, created dozens of jobs for local Navajo.
It's a big moment in Indigenous design history,
Do you
really.
feel that sense of duty?
Absolutely. I feel that it's important that we're represented in a beautiful way, and I'm really excited to be able to share these designs with the world.
She also feels a responsibility to use her newfound fame to raise money for skate parks on her reservation.
Skateboarding did a lot for my own mental health, and I feel like it can do so much more for so many other people and their mental health.
Naomi Glass's late grandmother once told her weaving could create a life for her. She used to sit quietly at the loom and wonder what she meant. Now, she says, she finally understands.
The dreams that I dreamt here at the loom have come true.
Great. Thanks for sharing that, Alexander. I know we're running a little late on time. Let me see what else we have. Oh, in Paris. Alexander, are we okay on time? Should we play this, or
It's a quick video, and it just happened. So
any more after this, or is this the end?
this is the last video.
Beautiful.
The hottest ticket in the world right now, the Summer Olympics in Paris, and the U.S. is just dominating in so many events and, of course, the medal count. We've still got a few days left.
And one local woman just got back from Paris where she was representing her nation, but it wasn't in any sort of sport, and luckily there was no pressure to make it to the podium.
But this trip really represents what the Olympic spirit is all about, fostering those international relationships and sharing cultures.
Our Tamara Lopez spoke to her today about what made this particular trip one to remember.
Looking at it like, what is this? What is this? And I would have to say, like, this is a crown. It's a crown. And they were like, no, it's not.
Amy Begay says her Miss Navajo Nation crown isn't the easiest thing to carry on a flight, but there was no way she was leaving it at home on her trip to Paris. She was invited by the Paris Olympic Committee to represent the Navajo Nation on the world stage.
When I received the invitation, I was thinking, is this really happening? Is this true?
She just got home a few days ago and says she still can't believe she got to go. Begay says she got to see events like archery and rowing, and while discovering new sports was fun, nothing beat watching some of her favorite players on the U.S. women's basketball team.
I was super excited, actually. And so I grew up playing sports, playing volleyball and basketball. And so for myself, my sister and I, we watched college basketball a lot. And so one of the players I remember growing up, like just watching Kelsey Plum when she played for the University of Washington, and never thinking like I would ever see her play in person.
For most, just being a spectator and a fan is enough. Begay says the best part about her trip was sharing her culture with the world.
People were just in awe of the way we were dressed, what type of shoes we were wearing, our moccasins, our jewelry, my hair and my TF and things like that. Not a lot of people know about our great nation, even just Native Americans in general. And so I felt honored to share that part of like our cultural heritage with different communities out there.
Tamara Lopez, KOB4.
Great. All right, Alexander, I think I probably should jump into the trivia here, not take any more questions. We're a little bit late. So Alexander, I'm going to have to jump off because I got to get ready for our thing. I know you do too. Take it away.
Well, thank you, Lou, so much for coming on and for our session today. So we are going to do trivia now. So as always, let's practice going over raising our hands. You can tap more either at the top right or at the bottom. You can hit reactions and then you can tap on raise hand. We'll take 3 answers per question. It's 5 multiple choice questions. So after we get the correct answers, we'll see who wins a holiday ornament prize today. So let's all raise our hands. Again, you can hit more at the top right and then tap on raise hand, or you can hit reactions at the bottom and then tap on raise hand. I'll take the first 3 answers for each question. And then we'll see what goes on. So give me one moment. Thank you so much for your patience, you all. So I see we have 2 hands. Yep, let's see. Let's get as many hands. Again, just by answering a question, you're in the running for a prize today. So let's not forget to raise our hands so we can correctly answer these questions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. First up, I chose 5 questions that we're going to cover. So these were the results of the wheel. So we have answering questions 5, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So after each question, we'll see, we'll go on to the next one. We won't see the correct answers till the end. So just provide the answer that you see on the screen that you think is right, okay? So again, looking at my screen, we're doing 5 questions today. So 5, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and then we'll see who wins, okay? So first up, just give me one moment. All right. First up is number 5. So again, raise your hand if you would like to answer this for the question. So number 4. And here is number 5. Navajos are most closely related to what other tribe? Aztec, Apache, Hopi, or Zuni? Again, first 3 hands. Share your answer, and then we'll see at the end who's right. Again, please raise your hands. We'll take the first 3 hands, okay? Again, love to hear from as many of you as possible, have as many chances to win today. Okay, we have 2 hands so far. We need 1 more hand, okay? Thank you. All right, Gracie, what is your answer for number 5?
I think I'm wrong, but it's the Hopi.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you. Miss Brenda T, what is your answer?
Apache?
Okay. All right. And then Miss Brenda M, what do you say?
Apache.
Okay, so we have 2 Apache, 1 Hopi. Okay. All right, thanks so much for that. Next one. We're gonna go with the majority. We'll see if it's right. So Apache, let's just select that for now, but I have everything on my paper. Number 10, let's see. Take 3 answers for this one. Colorado considered a plan to print its election ballots in Navajo as well as English. Why did this amuse some Navajos? Most Navajos who vote in Arizona. The white man has reneged on promises so many times before. Navajo has been just a spoken language up until recently. There's no agreed upon system for spelling Navajo words. So I think for this one, the first, second, third, or fourth one. So from the top, first, second, third, or fourth. 3 answers. Let's see who would like to try. Again, for number 10. Take 3 hands. Okay, we have 1 hand so far. 2 more hands for this question. 2 more hands. Again, you can try and see if you get it right. So again, looking for as many different voices. Okay, Yvonne, what do you think the answer is?
I think it's the third statement. Navajo has been just the spoken language up until recently.
Uh-huh. Thank you so much. Ms. Brenda T, what do you say?
I was going for the third one too.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, the third one. And then Ms. Gracie, what do you say? Yep. Again, Gracie, what do you say? What do you think it is?
There is no agreed upon system for spelling the Navajo words.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate that. So again, we'll go with the majority, see if that's right. Number 11, rapid fire. When the first American soldiers signed treaties with the Navajos, the treaties were almost immediately broken. Why? The headmen who signed the treaties were only local leaders with no authority to speak for the tribe. The treaties were unfair to the Navajos. The Navajos signed with their fingers crossed. Navajos didn't consider treaties signed with non-Indians valid. What do you think the answer is? 3 answers. Again, raise your hand. Let's see if you'd like to answer. So thank you, Ms. Wilder. We have 1 so far, 2 more hands, okay? We have 2 more questions after this. So again, any takers, especially folks who haven't shared yet or haven't participated in a while, would love to hear your voice and your answer. Okay, 2 hands. Yep. Everyone on the call, again, just raise your hand and you may win a prize today by answering a question. So we need 1 more hand. Any takers? 1 more hand. All right, thank you. We have 3 hands. Miss Wilder, what do you say for number
The
11?
second one, treaties
Okay.
were unfair to Navajo.
Okay, thanks so much. Miss Clement, what do you say?
The treaties were unfair to the Navajos.
Okay, same one. All right. All right, and then we have Miss Brenda T. What M, what do you say?
I'd say number 2.
Okay, so that
Unfair to the
one,
Navajos.
yeah, that one's all 3 of you all. So let's see if that's right in just a second. Good job. Thank you. 2 more. We have 12 and 13. 12, in 1861, the Navajo endured their version of the Cherokee Trail of Tears when soldiers rounded up the old and the young, the healthy and the infirm, and marched them into captivity at Fort Sumner. Many died or who were shot during the journey. What was his journey called? The Trail of the Long Walk, the Long Dying, the Trail of Sorrow, or the Trail of Shame? What do you all think? Again, 3 answers for this question. 3 answers for this question. Don't see any hands so far. Again, number 12. What do you all think? Okay, 2 hands. Let's go for one more hand. All right. Yep. Again, it's anybody for the taking. You got to raise your hand in time. So first three. Miss Wilda, what do you say?
Sorrow.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then we have Yvonne. What do you say?
I say the shame.
Okay. All right. I got you for that. And our last one is Miss Brenda. What do you say?
I'd say the long walk.
Okay, wow, that one's all different for that one. So we'll see what goes on. For that, I am going to just pick the Trail of Sorrow. We'll see if that's right. And then the last one for today, if you are out and about on the reservation in the fall and see a costume figure called a Yebichai or Yebikai wearing a mask and carrying a rattle, you should request a blessing, say a traditional prayer, give him something, avert your eyes. Yeah, that's an interesting word. Again, last question. What do you all think is the answer? What do you all think? Three answers for this one. If you're out and about on the reservation in the fall, see that costume figure wearing a mask, you should. One of those answers. Any hands, any takers. Can use Google as your friend as well. Two hands, we need one more, one more. Thanks so much. One more hand for this question. All right. Mr. Ronald, what do you say for this one? You got to hit unmute in the middle. Mr. Ronald, again, you got to hit unmute in the middle, okay? All right, well, if you unmute, I'll be able to see that. Gracie, what do you think the answer is?
Request a blessing.
Okay, all right, let's see. We have Ms. Brenda T. What do you say?
Request a blessing.
Okay, and Mr. Ronald, I see you. What do you think it is?
I do believe it's say a traditional prayer.
Okay, all right. So thank you all so much for your answers. Let's see if they are correct. So we had two for blessing, one for prayer for that one. So yes, let's submit our answers and let's see what goes on. So number 5, the answer is Apache. The Navajo recently arrived in the Southwest. They're genetically linguistically to the Apache. So that was question number 2. Yeah, thanks so much for, yeah, wait, yeah. Just gonna make sure we have everything correct. Yep, Apache. Thank you. Appreciate that. So that's number 2. Just going back so I can make sure I have the it correct. Yep, Apache, letter B. So both Brendas got that. Good job. All right, and number 10. Yeah, Navajo has just been a spoken language up until recently. So let's see what the answer is for that. Number 10, Navajo has just been a spoken language up until recently. So that is the answer for number 10. So that was Yvonne and Miss Brenda T. Good job for that one. Number 11, let's see. When was the first American soldier signed treaties? The treaties were unfair to the Navajo. So everyone got that. Good job. To Miss Wilda, Miss Clement, Miss Brenda M. 12. Let's see, 12, 12, 12. Let's see what goes on. So this was the trail question. So the answer for 12, the long walk. So who answered the long walk? And that was Miss Brenda M. Good job for that one. Memories of the long walk have been passed down. Many ceremonies were lost forever. Fort Sumner was an experiment that failed. Surviving Navajos return home in 1866. And the last question is, give them something. So, wow, give him something. That was the last one. So that one was the hardest one. Traditionally, Yebikai and Tal take something that belongs to you if no offering is given. Yebikai now collect for worthy causes. There is much excitement when one appears. Oh, wow. Okay, so for that one, we had good job, you all. That was a ton of fun. And let's see who wins a prize today. So I'm going to be inputting all of your initials in here. Let's see. For those that got it correct, good job to the multiple correct answerers. Love it. And we'll see who wins a holiday ornament prize today. So let's see who wins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. All right, it's going to be close. And it's Miss Brenda McManus. Congratulations. You won a set of holiday ornaments today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for participating. Really appreciate it, you all, and thank you so much for attending. Again, we have our big holiday program in just about 20 minutes or so. So let's make sure that we all come on and we'll have some fun. Other than that, let's all thank Lou for presenting this session today, and make sure every Wednesday you come on our travel edition of the Lunch Club. Other than that, have a wonderful rest of your day. See you at 1:30, and thank you so much, Lou, for presenting our session today. See you all soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was fun.
Congratulations, Brenda.
Thank you,
Yes.
Brenda.
I'm sick of Brenda.
See you all soon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lou.
SIKKA, sick of that woman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What's the number today, Brenda?
Congratulations.